Welcome to another episode of Athlete Things, and today Steve, Danny, and myself are joined by Adam Jones, 93 kilo lifter hailing out of Perth, WA. Currently on the Australian team that's going to Malta in just a short 6-week time. Thanks, Adam, for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. God, 6 weeks. It's really not that long.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's fucking coming out of nowhere, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think this episode will be posted just before we kick off, or Worlds kicks off. So anyone listening can get a bit of an insight into Adam, who'll be on the 93 kilo stage. We want to kind of kick off. You've got a huge training history, man. Been competing for, I think, 9 years. I saw in your open powerlifting since 2014.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah.
Just tell listeners about kind of what you've been doing in that time, how you started, what got you started, and where it's kind of taken you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I started lifting weights properly, I suppose. I think I was like 22, so a few years before I started competing. So I got into strength and conditioning stuff. So it was just a mixture of weightlifting, powerlifting, just a lot of strength, different types of strength training. Then I just kind of lent towards the power lifts because I just enjoyed them so much, and probably I was the better out of all the other things than that. So I really loved deadlifting back then. So there was a meet that was coming up in Perth, and I heard the word that was, everyone was signing up to it, and I thought, why not give it a go? And then I signed up for the meet. Had no idea how powerlifting meet ran or anything like that. I thought I'd just show up and do what I can. So yeah, so I showed up, and fortunately I had probably most of you already know Nathan Baxter. If you've been around long enough, you know him, and he put me under his wing, and he took care of me that day. And ever since then I was hooked. I was like, this sport is so fun. Like, I probably came dead last, but it was just like getting up there and pulling a PR, and I thought, this is so fun. And yeah, just that's where I started, and I thought I can commit all my training to powerlifting now. So it's 2014, my first meet. I had a little bit of a hiatus between my 2014 meet and came back 2016. I just worked fly in, fly out. I was managing a hip injury that I had for a long time. Hence that I was pulling conventional my first comp. And I actually hurt my hip pulling conventional. So I was actually forced to pull sumo, which did not aggravate my hip. So yeah, it worked out pretty good.
You've been sumo ever since, yeah?
Yeah, ever since then. Like, I can still pull conventional, but I just have to manage it. I can't pull a lot of it. Yeah, I came back, had a meet, and then just made the world's team for 2017, and ever since then I've been trying to get on the world's team every year since then.
Yeah, we saw so you went to Worlds 3 times in 83 kilo. Hey, so It was Sweden, Canada, and Belarus was your first.
Yeah.
We want to kind of flash forward. Probably the most notable competition you've had as of recent would be the 2022 Open Nationals for Australian Powerlifting Union. So there was big hype coming into that meet. There was obviously a big battle with the 93 kilos, being yourself, Callan, Brody. Excuse me. Who was the fourth?
Matt Bartholomew.
Yeah.
It was Matt. That was Yanni, Jesse. It was huge.
Yeah, heaps of people.
Huge 93 kilo battle where you came home with the win. So we want to kind of dive in first, like, I guess what it was like on that day. How was training going up to that Open Nationals, and how did you kind of manage it across that competition? Let's hear your side.
Across the competition. So, well, I'll tell you what, that year was a bit rough in regards to powerlifting training. I thought I'd do my very best to make the world's team for this year. Originally, I was planning to just take the whole year off because we were having our second baby, but I just couldn't help myself. I I wanted to go to Worlds. So I just thought I'm going to just do my best to manage my training, my life, and all that stuff going into internationals, and then take it from there. So on the day, it actually worked out pretty well. Like my weight wise was really good. I made weight really easy. I didn't quite hit the numbers that I projected that I wanted to hit, but I played to the field pretty much. I got a little bit aggressive on my squat. Well, I didn't execute it the well I liked. I've hit that number that I missed a few times. I hit that number I have hit a few times in training now, so I'm pretty confident that I can hit more. So I missed a 305.5 third attempt in my squat, which kind of put me back quite a bit because I'm not a bencher. So I make my total from my squat and deadlift.
Yeah.
So the big benches came back when it came bench time and made up for ground. But I actually played the field on that because everyone that was there, they could see that the bench or platform was super slippery. So it was like we had to compensate for that. So I just dropped the numbers that we were planning to just make lifts then. And then it came to deadlifts. Second attempt, it was gonna put me in a pretty I think it was gonna put me in lead. I think it was 315. Went up there and I just tore my hand. Like it came to lockout, or like midway, felt it, just my skin just ripping and the bar slipping down in my hand. And I was like, oh, just trying my best to hold on to it. And then unfortunately I couldn't hold on to it. I couldn't lock it out properly. And then tore my hand quite a bit. I wasn't the only one who was tearing my hand either. Like I think Brody had a pretty big tear as well.
Yeah.
And then before thirds, just did my best to plug it up with liquid chalk and chalk, and then it's just, whatever, throw everything into that third attempt. And so I put a lot in this prep, so I'm just gonna put everything into that lift and made it. And then
Because you missed,
and then Callum,
you missed the 315, then you had to take the jump for the third attempt. Hey,
jumped another 8.
Clutch.
Yeah.
It was clutch
That was-
execution.
Have you ever been put in a position like that before, like hands ripped, being forced to, pull with something like that? Because like Steve said, that was probably like one of the most clutch moments out of the whole weekend. It was like pulling into first after failing a second deadlift, right? So if you missed the third as well, like that would drop your placing even further.
Yeah. Like not a situation like that. I have pulled for the win before, but not with a torn hand and not with missing my second attempt. So yeah, there was a lot on the line.
It was like all those emotions and everything that you poured into that one prep, that moment, the hype, the build up, because the hype, the build up and everything for the 93s was probably the biggest of the whole competition, right? And it was like everything that just like came into that whole prep. Obviously there's going to be visualizing prior, and then it's like the second attempt, like me remembering it didn't look that great technically. Like when you went in to go up, I was like, nah. Like looking at the way second attempt moved, it's like, no, he's not going to get that. But it's like, I know as well, like you can pull shit out. Like we can go dark sometimes, and we can channel all of that and just fucking lift whatever's on the barbell. Like I've done it before in training and in competition. And it's like, you did that, and that moved like better than your opener.
Yeah, it did. I think I learned a lot from that as well. Like I put forward in my training that I need to really use arousal as well. Like I just need to fire up a bit more with my lifts, and it has been working in training. Just need to be careful not to overdo it. But
what were deadlifts like in the lead up to nationals? Like, what was the heaviest you hit?
It's going terrible on my prep. Like the block before was going quite well, But then I think the protocol and the strategy didn't work quite well for my deadlift into the prep. Like it peaked way too early. I think I hit a 325 training.
Yep.
I missed a 327 a week out. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest prep for in regards to deadlifts, but yeah, we learned a lot from it.
Does that play into your head at all? Like, up until that third attempt, when it's 1 or 2 minutes out from being bars loaded, like, is that running through your mind? Does any of that creep back in, or what's kind of going through your head before that third attempt?
I didn't care. I'm just going to pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I didn't care.
Everything.
Yeah. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to go up there and I don't care what's on the bar. I'm going to pull it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So since then, obviously, you took the number 1 spot. You take the nomination to go to Worlds, where you'll now be returning for your 4th championship, this time at 93 kilos. How's training been since nationals? What's been going on?
Yeah, after nationals, it was going okay. Then I had a couple of months where it wasn't going so great, just with illness. I was prepping for Perth Cup, which I was super excited for. But unfortunately, about 2 weeks out, I got gastro, and then as probably not the smartest thing, but I think as powerlifters, I think sometimes we just got to take a risk. When we're a couple of weeks out from a meet, we got to take a risk, and if it goes well, then it's going to go well. If it doesn't, then it's going to go terribly. And I took that risk, and it went terribly after returning from gastro, and I strained my back, so I couldn't deadlift or squat for a couple of weeks. I could start squatting about a few days before that meet, but I just decided to withdraw because I just didn't want to. Like, it was low cost, really. Like, I was going to Worlds regardless, and if I injured myself at Perth Cup, then it would just potentially ruin my prep for Worlds that I've invested so much into.
Yeah, man. Like, like you said, there wasn't much relative to the entire prep that you'd had for going into Malta, right? So if you already took the risk and it kind of like paid off, so it was worth pulling out when you did. It would have been very exciting though. There was like you, Callan again. It would have been another head-to-head rematch. That would have been very exciting to see, that we haven't seen at like local level in a long time.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's another chance to do that again.
Yeah.
Well, you and Callan get the rematch at Worlds, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. To me, it feels like a different thing. Like, Worlds is just,
you're not head to head at Worlds. It's like just trying to get as high as you can.
Yeah.
The dynamic seems a bit different as well, seeing as it's like 2 Worlds representative on the same team versus like head to head, right?
Well. Yeah. I don't know. To me, I feel like we're in the same team. We train together and stuff, and I feel like for this prep, I feel like we're in the same team. But if it's like nationals, then it's like, okay, we're going to try and take each other out. But But yeah.
Touching on that as well, like in terms of, you just mentioned you trained with Callan, like your training environment has changed like very drastically over the past 4 years. Like at first, if I remember, you were training out of like Singapore, out of Elevate, then you trained in Australia, then you had a home gym, then you went back to Singapore, and then you're back here. So
yeah,
what has it been like in terms of like the culture, environment, how that shaped your training?
Yeah, it's a good question. It definitely helps. Like when you've got big lifts, on it definitely helps having a support environment around you. Like, it's like Saturdays is super cool because I go in there and I do my main squat, and closer we get to Malta, the heavier it's getting. And it's definitely helps when you know, people are getting around you. You got the spotters around you. You feel super safe. It's very compy feels as well with the spotters. So there's that. It kind of yeah, helps in that regard of like just being fired up. But like training at home is also, still train hard at home, but it's like a totally different environment. Like I find that I always train hard, no, regardless, anyways. But it certainly does help having, you know, people around you.
You mentioned before, like you kind of realizing that need to really bring that arousal up in training. Obviously, you're now the father of 2 little kids.
Yeah.
How has kind of over the past 9 years, how has it evolved for you in terms of that training mindset? You know, before, early days, being a little bit younger, you know, 26, 27, probably just a bit more fucking let's lift. Whereas now you're in the garage, you know, with your little ones running around. So how, like, do you feel like you approach training differently compared to 5, 6, 7 years ago? Or is it much of the same?
I think, yeah, definitely it's different now. Like it was a very hard thing to shift from. Like going from not having kids to be able to put a lot of time into training, put a lot of time into everything else. Whereas, you know, you have the kids and it's not just about you and your training and all that sort of stuff. Like you got to manage these kids, you got to take care of these kids, and a lot of stuff is unpredictable. Kids get sick. If they can't go to daycare, you got to take care of them. And there was many cases in Singapore where, if like, especially around the COVID time, if your child's sick, then they can't go to daycare, and you're locked down or whatever, and you're unable to get in the gym. So there was many sessions that were missed that I was completely not used to, because before kids, I'm like, I never miss a session, never miss a session. And then I've missed so many sessions when I've had kids now. But luckily now I've got a gym at home where I can just fit it all in. So yeah, there was definitely a phase where I'd miss a lot of training.
How did that affect you, like, you know, as an athlete before and then transitioning through that phase? How did it affect you mentally, knowing like you're not getting those sessions in, when you realize when you go to that next level you need to prioritize training and things like that, but you can't? So yeah, how did you think about that?
Yeah, certainly. There was a phase, a transition. Like it would really frustrate me a lot, like with all that. But now I've kind of accepted it. And realistically, I haven't lost any progress. Like I'm still making progress. So I'm like, it's not that bad. And plus, you know, this is what I signed up for, becoming a parent. So it is what it is. You just gotta do the best I can, and make do with what I have.
Yeah, man. Is dad strength a thing?
I keep hearing this thing, but yeah, I don't know. I'm still,
like,
you know, still making progress. So yeah, why not?
me, Danny and Steve were laughing before you came on. Like what you would do, you know, you just hit your last warm up. You've spent like 5, 6, 7 minutes like psyching yourself up for a top set, and then the kids just start like popping off. Like, do you just like belt up, hit on the bar, get your set done, or do you like attend to the kids that are crying?
Dude, there's been several cases where I've like, okay, baby's gone to bed. All right, let's go train. Knee sleeves on, get fired up, headphones in. All right. Done the last warm up, getting chalked up, then the baby monitor goes off, and you're like, oh man. There's been times I'm like, I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit. I'm just gonna get this done, then I'll go straight in. Where it's like, okay, turn it down, get the set done, go out, see the baby, change the baby, bring him out, put him in his chair, and then I'll do the rest of my work and he'll watch. So
You can watch your top set.
yeah. They're pretty chill like that. Like my 3-year-old, he knows when dad at the bar is back, don't talk to dad, don't walk in front of dad, don't just stay away, just in case anything happens, just stay away and watch and then go. So that's cool. And he wants to get involved as well. He's like, I've got a little bar at home that he uses. So he goes, okay, it's my turn now. I'm like, okay, yeah. All right, get some reps out, mate. And then he loves putting the clips on too. He loves putting the clips on the bar. So just get him involved.
That's cute. What are some strategies that you use then? Like obviously when training goes a bit haywire, you know, you miss sessions or whatever. Obviously you follow RPE based programming, but how's your training look then across a week? Like let's say if something goes up and you miss a whole session, or you know you're within one session and you have to kind of cark it, what are some strategies that you do across your week in training?
Okay, so do you guys still hear me?
It's cutting out a little bit, but I think it's coming back.
Okay, good. Excellent. So I keep my training pretty flexible now. So you have your main movements, obviously stop, bench, deadlift. Work, so like whatever secondary work after that. With that block, say for example, pause squats, extend pause bench, pause deadlifts, things in those nature. Maybe the secondary works like second priority, and then is more the lower priority stuff still one. So I'll just shift things around in the week to make sure I get in the work, right? So there'll be some weeks where like if my child's unable to go to daycare or whatever, I'll have to just cram in a session, like an SVD session, what's not intended, but still just cram it in that way, and then try and fit in the other work wherever I can. Most weeks I get majority of the work done, but if I'm missing exercises, it'll be low priority stuff like just accessory movements, like shoulder work, things in those nature.
I think if anything, right, like you're obviously still competing at a very high level, you know, like you said that last year wasn't the best year of training, but you know, you still came home with that win at the end of the day and had that clutch moment. So I think obviously with powerlifting training, we like everything to be so predictable, and you know, it's gives you a bit of peace of mind, especially too with your training. But I think if anything, you're a bit of a case that as long as you're putting that hard work, then you're gonna get stronger, right? Yeah, that's it. It's just showing up and doing your best, pretty much. Like, you know, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, as long as you know you're doing some work, you're doing whatever you can to get there, like to push forward, then it's fine. Yeah. Also, like to touch base on like the training as well, is just choosing protocols that are not going to be too time consuming as well. So like instead of doing like 6 sets of 5 on like squats or whatever, we'll do majority of like ascending sets, like instead of 4 at 6, 7, 8, and then a low drop if we need to, or a top single with maybe 2 or 3 back off sets, and that's it for main work. Just to be able to, you know, jam in the work in the session. Yeah. And not take up too much time. That's even if you need to ramp up the intensity a little bit, so you can just get a little bit more stress in there. Yeah, we know obviously just talking about predictability and, you know, having everything lined up perfectly. You had that period where you were going through that adductor tear. When was that again? That was start of 2020. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Were you in Singapore then?
No, I was in Perth, but I was still living in Singapore, but I was in Perth for a holiday,
Yep.
Christmas holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, we know that took a bit of a hit in your training in terms of, bouncing back from that. What are some things, that you kind of did through that period to best manage, yourself mentally more than anything, like battling through that injury?
Yeah, that was a super difficult period. Obviously we had the COVID thing that was going around that we had all locked down, so I didn't really have a gym for 6-7 months to go to, and I was doing majority of my training in my apartment that I was living in, so I couldn't have a gym in there, so I had to make do with what I could fit in the apartment. So I was had, dip bars, BFR, cuffs, kettlebells and things like that. But also at the same time, I had a adductor tear that felt like so long to get over. But I think that was a useful period to where I could just rehab it a lot, with a lot of unilateral work, rehab work, and all that. So yeah, it was quite. It's hard to say how long it would have taken me exactly to come back under the bar, but I didn't have a choice. So it was mentally hard, a mentally frustrating period. But a few months after all that, I was back to hitting PRs. So it was like, it didn't feel like it was that wasted.
Yeah. During that period as well, was like, I think post adductor tear, you also decided to move up a weight class as well. Is that right? Because you went from 83 to then 93.
Yeah. It's at the same time I tore my adductor, we had our firstborn as well. So, and then we had the COVID stuff. Then I ended up putting on a bit of weight during that time. I actually, not directly after COVID, I was reasonably light, but when I went back to training, I got pretty heavy real fast. So I think I just probably got fat over COVID, and then put my muscle back on after. Then and I was just extra heavy. But then I tried to work my way back down, and trying to managing having a young family, and then having more kids was just going to be too hard to put extra stress on trying to get back down to 83s.
Yeah, it's like stress on stress on stress, and something's going to go right, and it's always going to be something in your body because you mentally won't let yourself give up. So it's like your body will go before you kind of let go.
Yeah. I think that's what happened in 2020 as well when I tore my adductor. It's just that we just had our firstborn, but I was still training really hard, and I had a meet. I was planning for a meet in March, where I wanted to attempt the deadlift world record at the time, which was only like 330 something. Where training was looking like I was getting towards that, but then my adductor went ping. So yeah, I was just burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah.
Overshooting how much stress having a young family would have been.
Yeah, for sure. And plus cutting down, I was getting pretty close to comp weight as well as 84, walking around 84, 85 kilo. And pushing hard, pushing training hard, pushing my diet hard, pushing life hard, and then life just got me.
Yeah. Your body takes the hit. Up here, 9 life stress.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Man just wanted to pull a
weakling
deadlift world record.
Yeah, just let me. And the meet didn't end up happening anyway. So there you go. Now the deadlift record's like what, 360 or something.
Yeah, it's obviously been pretty productive though, right? Like the move up to 93s. We've seen your total go from Belarus being the 662 to just at the nationals has gone 771.
Yeah.
What are some other kind of benefits you found? Obviously the strength gain, but like moving up the weight class, just in your general training.
Yeah. So obviously, being able to push more weight, like I think what's been affected the most moving up is my squat. My squat's gone up quite a bit. And plus it's just a lot easier not to be so stressed about the body weight as well.
Yeah.
Like, and having to, I remember Sweden just sitting in the sauna for a bit before competing, spitting in a cup, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Yeah, so it's nice not to be able to do that. But yeah.
Do you see yourself, like, how far do you see yourself getting to that point again as a 93?
What do you mean? Like, just
So yeah, so like in terms of weight cutting strategies to fit into the 83 class, like you've got a lot more time now that you've filled out as a 93, and being an athlete and being competitive, because like you've got Malta, you've got potentially, depending how long you stay in the sport, like you've got so many more nationals to go, right? And so
yeah.
eventually you're going to reach a point where you would end up having to go back to that kind of like weight cutting strategy, right? So
Yeah.
how far do you see that point coming?
Well, I don't. As long as I manage it well and not a blowout too much, I should be fine. I think that like I'm not super lean at 93. Like I was quite lean at 83. So I feel like I've still got a lot of excess weight that I could just get rid of, where I probably walk around, still at just around 90 kilos, that would be a bit leaner. So I feel like I still got a lot of muscle I could put on, but how much can I actually put on? I'm not getting any younger either. So I'm 36, and so I'm not sure how much bigger I can actually get. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, man. Like I was gonna say, like eventually what 105s maybe, and then push the total up there.
105s.
It'd be a
God.
stocky 105.
Yeah, it'd be very, very a thick 105.
What rack height are you on squat?
I think rack height 11.
What are you, Steve? You're 9, hey?
No, I'm 9, bro.
No,
And the bar is fucking halfway down my back too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm rack height 11. Yeah. On the ERs.
I think it shows though, right? Because like often you see people, they want to stay light to try and be competitive, but you've kind of been at both ends now. At 83, you were competitive, going to 3 world championships, and now at 93, you're just as competitive, right? So I think it's a good kind of, showing that you can kind of move up and still be competitive no matter where you are in the chain.
Yeah, sure.
I think it depends. It depends how how competitive you were as like an 83, or for example, myself as like a 74. Like if I were to go up to 83s, like I don't see anyone beating me at 83. I'll be honest. Like it's just like, because you were probably that strong as an 83, like there was no one like close to you, I suppose. So you go up and it's like you get this added advantage now of being in a surplus, getting out of being like so lean, having to cut. The life stress probably feels like it comes down, because we all know like being in a surplus feels better already. Like all the energy goes up and everything, and then you have a better training environment, and you just go up, get stronger, and then you're straight back to where you were. It's like you only had to gain like 30 kilos maybe on your total or something initially to be like the best 93, because you're already so far ahead of an 83.
Yeah.
That's the way that I look at it anyway, because I've thought about obviously going up to like an 83. I feel like, well, I've already out totaled all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, like the only person that's done more than me at 83 is Nathan Tannis, and he's not really lifting anymore. So it's like, if I were to go up, then I just have all this room.
Until Jonesy comes back down.
Sure.
Jonesy comes back down.
Yeah. That's been a thought in my mind, comes on and off. My God, could I do it again? Gotta do it again. But yeah, like Steve, if you move up to the 83s, there's no doubt that you're going to put a lot more in your total.
Yeah.
You'll be eating more, you'll be bigger. Squat's going to feel a lot nicer. So
You're already eating more, right, Steve? This prep?
I am. I'm in a surplus this prep.
Beautiful.
I stayed down at like 75 and a half for like a year.
Yeah.
And a bit, nearly 2 years. And now this time we're going up to like 77. So I've been in a surplus for a bit and I feel good, feel healthy, feel like just ready to go.
It's Mandarin season.
It's Mandarin season, and we know
Beautiful.
like when Mandarin season's in, like I'm on.
And how's that been with your niggles? Like,
well, last block was good. Like I said earlier, I was able to push everything hard.
Yeah.
Again. Just volume, like not really like singles or anything. We haven't really pushed up the top end. And then so I'll guess I'll find out over the next few weeks how like the top end feels, but I'm feeling good. I feel confident. I feel excited. I feel happy. Like I'm ready to fucking go. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to kill myself. Like that's it. That's how it is now for me.
With a smile on your face, but
yeah, with a smile on my face,
which is good, right? I mean, we spoke about it before. You've taken that flip from demon mode to demon mode with a smile.
Yeah, like laugh about
because he's eating more.
Yeah. I'm a lot happier eating more as well. I can tell you that, and it's like I took a lot of pressure off myself too, because I was just like, at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of, and if they beat my best, then I'll shake their hand because that's all I can do.
Yeah. And then there's next year.
Yeah, and then there's next year where I could be at 83.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll break some hearts.
Sounds like an unofficial announcement.
Yeah.
Nah, it's definitely not. It hasn't crossed my. It crossed my mind a little bit, but it hasn't. I have a job to do right now, and it's in 5 weeks.
5 weeks time, man. It's going to be stacked. 74s are so stacked at Worlds.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah,
93s too, man. What the hell?
93s are crazy.
I was looking at the noms actually, and it's like if Chance was there, everyone. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Actually,
it's everyone over 800, isn't it? Wait, more.
Yeah, more.
Yeah,
850.
The top 5 were all going to be over 880.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane.
Like that is what the fuck. It's just where this sport is heading right now. Hey, like everyone's just getting so absurdly strong. Like one of them's going to go over 900. They're going over 900 at Worlds. It's going to happen. Whether it's multiple, it could be Emil, fucking Gavin, Jonathan could all do it. You know, they all have it. They all have it in them to do it. You know, and then we got Gustav as well. Like we haven't seen what he's been doing for a bit.
Yeah,
but we know what they're all capable of. And Chance comes back, Jonesy gets up there. We're good to go.
Well, you look at the World's 93s probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and they were totaling pretty close to 83s. Now it's just exploded. Just only like the last year or two.
Yeah, it's like what happened was like Keiko was always like I say it about like, you know, like I've said it before, like the 93s in Australia, like usually like the most competitive probably weight class because you are all kind of together.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like Keiko kept like pushing it, but he was winning these tight battles with like Gustav. And then it's like the other ones like Chance, he's a super competitive dude. You know, and obviously Gavin's like, everyone's heard Gavin talk in the way that he talks, and he's like, fuck, like he just wants it as bad as he wants anything. Like he said he's even willing for like his bones to crush, right? And so it's like these super competitive people have been like, now they're trying to catch him. So it's like now they're all gone to where that the higher level people are. And it's like the 93s in Australia are all the same. You just kind of clump together, but you go at the same pace. And it's like,
Yeah.
Like I say this about like the 74s in Australia as well.
Yeah.
We have like, because we got me, Leo, and Ed as well, and then there's Carver, and it's like we're not just like the four strongest 74s, we're the four strongest on points across the board in Australia. It's because we have like, we're all just moving together as like a clump.
Yeah,
Iron sharpens iron.
and I had this conversation with Callan the other day. We were looking back at past meets, like we're just reminiscing on past meets where we competed in, I think it was 2016 in Brisbane. We did nationals there. We did so crap. But just looking back at like our totals back then to where we are now, and like even looking back at your history, Steve, like where you were as well, and now you're, you know, absolutely crushing it. So it's like, you know, everyone doesn't start just crushing it from as soon as they start powerlifting. It takes years and years and years and years.
And we keep going. It's that's the biggest thing that I think, like even when we get anyone on here, it's just like keep fucking going. If you keep showing up, it doesn't really matter. Like you can have kids, you can do all that, you can still live your life like the way that you want to. You know, that's your choice. But if you keep hopping under a barbell 3 to 4 times a week, like you're gonna end up there.
100%. That's just, yeah, I feel you on that, man. Like I'm like, I'm just gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep doing the best I can and see how far I can go with it. As long as I can get under a bar.
Yeah, that's it. Just literally it.
Just love it though. You gotta love it.
Yeah, you do. You do have to love it, because fuck, there's gonna be some bad days.
Yeah. That's the days where that love comes in. That love hate.
It's always like a week later you feel great again.
Yeah. You feel worse for not doing it.
Yeah, it's that you also got to have that kind of like, no matter how bad this feels in the moment, like I'm just gonna fucking suck it up. I'm gonna get through this session, and that's it, and we'll worry about it later.
Yeah,
and then you forget about it. Because kids crying, you got to change a nappy.
Got to change nappy. You got to do what you got to do.
That's it.
You got to do it for the kids, man.
Hey?
The stink just wipes the memory.
Mate, I'm so used to it now. It doesn't bother me.
It's like that natural ammonia, right?
Yeah, natural. Yeah. It's life's funny, man. It's just from just lifting whenever you want, no distractions, to all this is funny. It's just
supersetting, back squats and nappy changes.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll finish off. We've got a quick little overrated, underrated segment. Nothing crazy, just a few quick ones. You obviously know how it works.
Yeah,
we'll tell a topic and you guys say whether it's overrated or underrated, and feel free to comment.
Okay.
Number one, already touched on it a little bit, but spotters.
Underrated.
Yeah.
100%.
Feel a big difference? Do you feel like a big, huge difference, like from when you're squatting in the garage to at SC?
Yeah, 100%. It's just having people around you just going, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But I actually feel safer, even though I'm in a powerlifting cage with a sling. With slings, you feel safer.
Yeah. All right.
As long as they're good spotters.
Yeah, that's right. They got to be good. Get people around you. Next one, the flywheel training.
Oh, overrated.
Overrated.
Yeah, it's not an essential. It's nice to have.
I know you posted that set, I think it was a while ago now, but like I'm just curious, how hard does it feel in comparison to, say, like a belt squat with X amount of kilos? Like, can you get the same kind of quad loading on it?
It just hits different, right? Like
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. I don't know, like I don't know how 100% how I feel about it. Like I do find it is useful. But like for example, a set of belt squat, if you're pushing it, if you're pushing like a 12, if you just push into like a 9 RPE, like a true 9 RPE,
Yeah.
like a gun to your head RPE, you will have 1 rep left. It sucks because it feels easy, then all of a sudden it just hits you and it's like, oh God, it's hard. And you're forcing yourself to go full range of motion as well. And just coming into the eccentric phase. Because if you're controlling the concentric or the eccentric and then concentric phase, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to push.
Yeah.
So
And you just don't get on that on the flywheel.
no, that's the flywheel.
Oh, that's the
normal
flywheel.
belt,
Yeah.
normal belt squats just feels like you're squatting.
Yeah.
Like there's just that load.
It almost just like
The load
like
is not the load's not pushing you down.
That's what I say. It pins you
not
down at the bottom
pulling.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Garage gym things.
Yeah.
Next one. Dad life, sleep.
Underrated. Yeah. Definitely underrated. You gotta get the sleep in, man. You gotta just, no matter how it looks, especially when the baby's super young. Everyone's circumstance is different. Like you'll have some dads that, they work full time, so they're not really super involved with feeding the child. Whereas the mum is, full time with the child and then feeding them.
Yeah.
But we'll take in turns, and our kids are bottle fed, so when they're babies, every 2-3 hours they want to be fed, and that's around the clock. So it's tough. It definitely takes a lot of teamwork.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
So
Get the naps in.
A lot of naps. Forget about having the structured 8 hours or whatever it is. That you just got to fit it in.
Just get it in when you can.
Yeah, that nationals prep, I was getting like 5-6 hours. It was horrible. But
Here's me. I need 9 to function.
dude, I haven't seen 9 in so long.
Oh fuck! No. I get cranky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam will know when I'm tired at work.
Yeah.
And then there's Adam, like 4 hours sleep, and he's like, hey, what's going on?
I'm gonna squat 300 kilos today in a cage by myself.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, yeah, thanks so much for coming on again. Obviously,
Nice.
all the best. Malta, 5-6 weeks time now. Steve, Dane, and I are going to be there, so we'll
Awesome.
we'll get up there and we'll rip in, and all the best for your training in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys, and look forward to seeing you in Malta. Let's get a couple of sessions in while we're over there before we compete.
Yeah,
Another 2 at least.
Yeah,
definitely,
All right.
man. Let's do it.
Cheers, fellas.